Talk shoes. Recorded live.
What up, what up, what up? We're back. Guard Your Girl Boxing. We still the best boxing show on the planet. You already know that, though. It's your man Coltrane, riding Dolo briefly. Little Kendrick Lamar, swimming pools, drink. We're going to be talking about drinking a lot on this show tonight. Guard Your Girl Boxing, every Monday night, we're back in our usual spot, man. Shout out to the Guard Your Girl Boxing family that's been holding us down, man. I know it's been a long time, man, but we're back in the saddle, man, ready to get this thing popping. We're going to get into last Saturday night in a second, you know what I mean? We're going to talk about Nito Donaire versus Arce coming up this weekend. Talk about Amir Khan. The landscape of boxing now. Look like Sleepy is joining us.
Hey, how you doing?
There he goes.
What's up?
I opened the show up with swimming pools. Kendrick Lamar's.
The drink? The
drink. I mean, I thought it was fitting to open the show up with Kendrick Lamar.
Are you insinuating something?
Oh, man. Well, look, man. Again, Guard Your Girl Boxing Radio, man. Again, thank you to everybody that's been patient, waiting. I promise y'all the Chronic Part 2 is on its way. And we're going to get right into it, man. That Sleep, the Mimic, the dude with the black hat. Wow. The landscape has changed in the world of boxing. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to start.
I think this is a landmark moment. Like when Guard Your Girl Boxing came in, we were at I like to compare that to the early 90s in hip-hop when we came in. The matchup. Good parallel. Everybody was popping. Paul Williams was just coming on the scene. The welterweight division was out of control.
Joe Calzaghe.
Was popping. Oscar De
Ricky Hatton.
We just had so many interesting matchups. For you younger listeners, the 90s is when you got your Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Wu-Tang, Tribe Called Quest, like every Snoop, Dre. The music was just at its point. So I think that was a phase that unexpectedly came to kind of a halt, a la like the late 90s and like the early 2000s. And what we're seeing is, the people that held it down after that, we're seeing them slowly go off into the sunset. Not saying that this is the end. Not saying this is the end of Pacquiao, and we will get into that. But, a lot of our favorite fighters are in mid-30s, late 30s, and the new breed is coming. Is it as exciting as it was? I don't know. Even this little intermission phase has not been as exciting as when we first got involved in the sport. But I think we're seeing the changing the guard and the end of the matchups that we've grown to love, And I was fortunate enough to pay $70. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't pay $70. I probably paid 100, pay 270 because they always seem to catch me in the middle. My bill cycle's changing.
Explain this to people because, see, people don't. The cable bill is always the last bill to get paid. Like the cell phone bill gets paid before the cable bill because you need the cell phone every day, and you can kind of ride out with. Go ahead, just get into it, Sleep. Tell them what happened.
This is funny because I just went to the Laugh House, the world famous Laugh House where Kevin Hart emerged from. A lot of comedians emerged from in Philly. I don't go there often, but I just so happened to go in there. This comedian was saying, you know, when you get that bundle, you don't even know what's attached to the bundle. You don't pay your bills. It's like Comcast are like, you know, secret agents. Like you threaten Comcast, they start flickering the lights in your house. They control everything. So I have the bundle, which means internet, phone, and cable. So, you know, my bill gets crazy. You know what I'm saying? My bill is probably around like $200 a month or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, I'm old school. I come from the days of the brown box. So I keep it real with y'all. When me and Coltrane was growing up, we had this utensil where we used a screwdriver, you know, to watch some of your favorite fights from the 90s. So, you know, this has been, well, it hasn't been new territory because it's been going on for a while. But they always seem, every time it's a major fight, the billing cycle is changing. So they demand payment. Like I always try to order it over the phone, over TV. And let's keep it real. We didn't have a fight party or nothing, you know.
Right. I didn't even
GYGB,
see the fight for the next day.
Those solo scores. So we didn't have a fight party. So, you know, I was grinding, running around. You sitting around the house, man. You just keep looking at that price. Like I want to watch something. I don't want to miss this. So I'm looking at the price. Then, of course, HD is $70. You talking about, I remember when fights was $29.99.
Right.
A pair of sneakers to watch a fight. So I go to pay this by hitting it on my remote. They say you have to call in. That's when I know it's coming up.
That's when you know it's on and popping.
And it's funny. I wish I would have recorded my conversation with the operator. Because she called, she says, I had to pay my bill. I said, ma'am, Hurricane Sandy is you're going to make me pay my bill? I said, I can't even enjoy the fight. I'm from New Jersey. She said, no, you have to pay your bill, sir. Then she charged me $5 to process my bill. We was on the phone for 40 minutes debating over that $5. Back in the fight, she couldn't even cut the fight on. Like, she was making some mistake. But, you know, they got it in their bag where they'll make you pay that bill. So I paid about $270 Saturday night.
About right.
Fight. It was worth it. I ain't even going front. It was worth it.
Yeah, this was the one fight. It's funny because I was talking to Steve earlier. It seemed like a lot of, I'm talking about like degenerate boxing fans, not just casual people, was kind of like hating on the fight. And somewhat rightfully so going into the fight because you thought you was going to see, pretty much everybody know Marquez beat Pacquiao the last fight. Unless you're blind or you just a diehard Manny Pacquiao fan. So I kind of thought it was going to be the same story again. So I had no interest in watching the fight. And it's always the fight that you don't watch end up being the talk of one of the biggest upsets probably of this decade. Not the fact that he lost to Marquez, but how he lost to Marquez. So it's like the one fight you don't watch be like the biggest event. That's just the way life goes with everything.
And you know what else, people, which is funny? I forgot to record it. After spending all that money, I forgot.
Because you probably was casually going into it like, all right, that's it. I'm going to just watch this. Not knowing what Sleep was giving us a play-by-play. He was texting us. I thought he was joking. Like, I was waiting for the punchline to come.
Nah, man.
Like, we lived into excitement reading these text messages like, I'm in a car. Like, I was coming from an event. I'm in a car, like, reading these texts. I wasn't driving, by the way. Put that out there. Yeah, but I was reading these texts. I'm like, he's like, oh, Pacquiao got knocked down and he's not moving. I'm like, nah, he's joking. You just don't expect that from Pacquiao. This version of Pacquiao.
Well, when we go back to first of all, before I even get into the fight, this fight didn't start to probably.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Like, yeah, it's just getting ridiculous. Probably 12.
It would have been off at 2 in the morning had it not been a knockout.
I gotta look.
My calculation.
I'll look at the texts because you guys were texting me and asking me about the fight. And I was,
that was at 1 almost. That was 10 of 1.
It wasn't that late. I'll tell you exactly, but you know the fact that the fight, you know, started so late is like who's winning the Pac fight? This is 12-10, and I was like, man,
okay,
yeah, that was 12-10. So it started right after that.
Wow.
So I mean, if you watch the fight, you kind of knew, and in my opinion, I thought Marquez was going to get knocked out because. First of all, Pacquiao was extremely aggressive from the beginning. Extremely. He was extremely aggressive. Even as big as looked, he was extremely aggressive. And you know, I had Pacquiao winning the first 2 rounds, and then I think Marquez dropped him in the third with the He-Man punch. Like he
I have the power of Grayskull.
The He-Man punch just came out of it. Because you know the early
we'll get into that later, but go ahead.
It didn't look like Marquez had the power or the explosion. Like
explosion,
obviously,
the right word, not power, explosion.
He was setting it up. Like you know how sometimes you watch certain fighters, they look a little slow and they look like their punches don't really have nothing on them. Like they're not a stronger fighter. So he kept digging to the body. You know, he was digging to the body. He was also trying to set him up for the that little uppercut. He was actually landing some punches here and there, but the pace was more frantic than any of the other fights outside of, you know, when they got into those rounds. Like, he came out like the first fight. Pacquiao came out like the first fight, but with a lot of head movement, which, you know, Roy's been doing a good job lately, too.
He has. I've been saying that he's been on point all the fights. He's been calling them as they come. He's been really doing a good job.
He's been on point. He said the reason why Pacquiao's able to land that straight left hand, you guys know the left hand I'm talking about, the one he throws when he's on one foot.
The ones that he knocks people, but he's been knocking the guys that come straight, well, not knocking out, but the guys, you know, with no defense.
Right. So he was able to land the left, the straight left hand because the movement, he was moving so much, Marquez wasn't able to gauge how close he was to him. When he would get in range, he was laying a lot of left hands. But these was competitive rounds. But, you know, it just looked like Marquez, when he would land something besides digging to the body, he looked like he had a lot of power. Now, I don't know how you get to the third round, the He-Man punch, the overhand right comes from nowhere, and this dude just flies. He flies across the ring from the punch. I mean, you saw that, Coltrane.
Right. I mean, let me just say, like, first of all, like I said, Marquez has been winning all these fights just about. Everything that he did is predicated on timing. He's like one of the most beautiful, like, other than Floyd, like right now and in today's crop of fighters, you know, he's second to Floyd as far as like just being able to have that knack and ability to time his punches like perfectly. The overhand right that he dropped Pacquiao with in the third round was the eye-popping moment for me. Now, granted, I didn't see the fight at live time. Only thing I kept looking at was his body, you know, because all I remember is when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he had the torso of a 12-year-old. Last night he looked like Ray Lewis. Like he looked like a linebacker. And the one thing that I couldn't stop staring at was his shoulder clips. You know, like his shoulder blades was like 9 inches high. So I was stuck on that on ESPN when they showed the highlights. So Sunday morning I got a chance to actually watch the whole fight. And the overhand right, I mean, Pacquiao, he's looking right at. It's not like it was nothing pretty. It wasn't even a counter punch. He just threw an overhand right, a looping overhand right, a la Tomas Adamek. It's a punch that Tomas Adamek drops people with normally. But Tomas Adamek is a puncher, so that's not really that abnormal. Like
it was a street punch. It was like a haymaker.
It was just a looping, but it's not a punch that Marquez normally drop people with.
I mean,
he doesn't drop people with this punch.
It was like it was explosive. So
it had explosive, but I'm saying I've seen him throw this punch before, and it didn't have this. not forget Pacquiao for a second. I mean, even with Juan Diaz, if you go back to that fight, because I had a couple of people bring that fight up to me. If you bring that fight up, he systematically broke Juan Diaz down. It's not like he was just dropping with one punch. He systematically broke you down, kind of like what Floyd does. And then the knockout comes later after he systematically breaks you down because the punches get more sharper and they become more cleaner. That punch was explosive. It looked like a freaking Felix Trinidad haymaker. It had that kind of Eureka Gamboa type of haymaker feeling to it.
All right, so
just weird to me.
So before we get to what people are speculating, I want to play devil's advocate because I'm a slightly older guy. I understand how with any athlete, as you get older, your body gets thicker. You accumulate. You're able to sustain a heavier size and weight to you. Like some people's 25, but mainly like 30. You got to start late 20s. You got to start monitoring your weight. You can't just eat whatever you want to eat. So I understand how these fighters grow into their body. So this is an older guy. If he did hit the weights, do you feel as though he could accumulate those cuts? You're talking about a 38, 39-year-old man, as opposed do you think he could accumulate that muscle mass from lifting weights? Which is like if this and all of us being boxing historians, our understand from the way old boxing was that lifting weights ain't going to allow you to knock somebody out. It's not going to translate into a punch. Now we're starting to see like a newer crop of fighters, just like new regiments in other sports where people are lifting weights. Now, Shane Mosley was a weightlifter.
You screwed this.
So Shane Mosley was a weightlifter. So, do you think, I'm asking you, Coltrane, the mass he obtained, is it, was possible from lifting weights? Like, I think his physique was attainable through lifting weights. I think his physique.
No doubt about it. Like, let me list, because I think all of it kind of go hand in hand on where we kind of going at with this. And I think weightlifting is a part of it. And you brought up Shane, and we all know about Shane's situation with the weightlifting. And he's the guy that he has as his strength and conditioning coach is used to training other kind of professional athletes, like baseball players and track stars, who use weights, and that, especially in baseball, because you train a power hitter, a guy like Barry Bonds, who he was working with. We ain't gonna get into the other stuff yet, but the weights is like a main ingredient on what they're trying to do. And if you look at Juan Manuel Marquez, because me personally, I thought Pacquiao was kind of winning the fight.
No, he was. I had points.
And I thought it's weird because it was like two different fights going on, because it's like Marquez got the knockouts, but Marquez was kind of losing a fight. He looked stiff and slow. Like Marquez
won in one round. Like he won the third. He won the third. I had him. He won the third. Then when he lost the fourth, then he got dropped. He got dropped in the fifth. I think he got dropped in the fourth or the fifth. And that round could have been a 2-point round for Pacquiao, the way he was getting battered.
Right.
It was. That's why the fight was so. And I don't want to take you off track of where you're going, because we're gonna get into the other rounds.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the other. We're gonna get into other stuff there. But I was just saying, just go back to your point about the muscle mass, and and I will say, like, with exercise and how you can get laser surgery. I mean, we got a lot more access to stuff that we didn't have access to back in the day. So that's why even in football, you see guys, speaking of Ray Lewis, you see guys like that's like into their late 30s and they still performing at a high level. Like, I can't recall in the sport of boxing when so many dudes are in their 30s and they're still performing at a high level. Like, back in the day, look at even in the NBA, you got guys that's 34, 35, 36, 37 years old still performing at high levels. And back in the 80s and the 90s, once you got into that age, you was pretty much like a fill-in player. In boxing, forget about it. You was done. You was just living off your name if you was a star, or you was just a gatekeeper for a younger fighter. But it's not like that no more, because, like you said, you can train all year, and you got these different facilities. You can hire. I mean, I don't think they had the means and the money to hire a strength and conditioning coach. Now, that's normal now. Like, that's a normal thing now. You know, I remember with the dude, remember when Ray Leonard and them did it, it was like a big, when they had to do Mackie Showstone, like, that was like a big thing, but everybody couldn't afford to do like that, to have in training all year. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible because those guys are good at what they do.
Right.
I'm talking about, you know, the strength and conditioning dudes.
Right.
I mean, those dudes are really good at that, what they do.
It's the evolution of a sport, evolution, you know, man. You think about, you know, years ago, people couldn't run a mile in a certain period of time. And once
Right.
Like, once people are able to see something and witness it with their eyes, then it becomes commonplace. You know, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, unheard of a guard coming in right out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So then it was done like clockwork. You know, so you know, but we're gonna get into, you know, but we never.
The elephant in the room, the big elephant in the room.
The thing is this, like, and you know, some people argue this in baseball. They say, what does being super strong and huge have to do with the timing of hitting the ball?
Right.
When once the bat gets on that ball, they got the type of power and you know, the stamina to get it out the park. Now, in boxing, it's never been, you know, like is the Mayweather, as Mayweather Senior said, this ain't no weightlifting contest. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like so, it's like even observing the anatomy of a punch. Now, if a person is stronger and they do know how to place a punch correctly, which Marquez is a very accurate puncher, it should translate into a stronger punch that could potentially, you know, cause a knockout. Now let's get something straight. The last knockout, you know, because we briefly talked about it. You know, after the third, he dropped Pacquiao. Then I thought, you know, Marquez, you know, he got a little careless. He got sucked in again or whatever. He got dropped. Then I thought Pacquiao pretty much controlled the fight. Like, he made an adjustment and was controlling the fight. Now, he was wild in his attack to get rid of him in that round, and
right.
That was probably the most. I'm looking at the round like, why isn't Marquez holding him? Like, when this is the last round. Who was that? The sixth? It was round
that
six.
was the sixth round, right? When Pacquiao was like kind of herky jerky and moving all over the place.
He broke
attacking him basically. He broke his nose.
Broke his nose at the top of the round. He was pounding him. You know, Marquez
He was tattooing him. He was touching him. He was touching him up.
Yeah, he was trading with him, like, you know, and I'm like, why is it Marquez holding this dude? I didn't think Marquez was going to make it out the round because he kept, you know, because traditionally in they four fights, anytime Marquez would exchange with him, he would get caught with something in the exchange.
Right, like the first round of the very first fight.
Yeah, so I'm screaming, like, grab him because I just want to see the fight. I didn't want it to end. I'm like, grab him, stop exchanging with him because he was obviously weak. And then, you know, he set him up because he basically charged at him. And that was probably one of the most dramatic knockdowns I've ever seen because it was right on the bell. He ran into the perfect punch.
He does. Yo, somebody, again, when he fought Shane, when he fought Mosley, he's been reverting back to some of these bad habits. It started really in the Shane Mosley fight. I think that's when everything kind of went downhill again.
He never left. Shane backed
up.
No,
he never left. But what Shane did was, see, what happened was, and you're right, that guy really did never leave. And what happened was he was fighting guys that was coming towards him, so he was able to act kind of,
Yeah, you're exactly right. People was coming pursuing him.
Right.
As opposed
he was
to
actually
talking.
And he looked like he had better footwork and better movement because he had slow plotting guys coming to him. But anyway, back to the Shane fight. Shane was backing him up, and I remember Nassim telling Shane, like, yo, he's leaning, he's reaching, he's leaning in, like, just jab me, like he's leaning in every time he comes towards you, you know. But Shane was afraid to get counterpunched, so he wasn't letting his hands go, but he was like leaning in that fight. But anyway, so go fast forward back to when he fought Marquez last year, and Marquez was basically Pacquiao was on the same thing, leaning and jumping. That was like the worst I've seen him look like ever probably last year when he fought Marquez. That was like the biggest robbery out of the whole trilogy or whatever, how many fights they had. But anyhow, Marquez was just setting him up. I mean, he boxed a masterpiece. He brought him to him. He set trap. He was very, and it was very Floyd-esque. He had a certain number in his head, how many punches. He wouldn't let so many punches. That ended up probably why he lost the fight, because he wouldn't let more than 2-3 punches go at a time. But and that was frustrating, Pacquiao.
They're very clean, especially the uppercut when he stepped to the left.
Yeah, he put on a boxing lesson. He pretty much, other than Pacquiao made one like 3 rounds tops out there in that fight. And
everybody knows I haven't. And I don't know what y'all gonna think, but y'all know I've never given Pacquiao a fight against Marquez. I thought the first one was
and I always, when we first started Guard Your Girl Boxing, when I used to call him Pacquiao, it was predicated on those Marquez fights. That's how it all started, because I always thought Marquez got the bad end of the stick of those fights. But in retrospect, it actually helped Marquez move into a mansion and drive luxury cars. Because had it not been for Pacquiao, Marquez would just be a regular guy fighting guys making nice money, but Pacquiao made him a millionaire. That's why I think you're going to see a fifth fight. But that's neither here or there. But the elephant in the room, I mean, listen, I've seen I watched a lot of boxing. That guy's almost 40 years old. Like I said, I mean, everybody keeps telling me Marquez has dropped people before. Other than that dude he dropped in the first round, when my antenna went up then, when he moved up to 140. I'm not talking about when he fought Floyd. When he came back up in weight again before he fought Pacquiao at 47 last year, and he knocked that dude out in the first round. But then some people are going to say, well, he had the same conditioning dude last year. He did have the same conditioning dude last year. That is true. But again, he was robbed again. He was robbed, so let's up the ante. We got to knock this dude out, because listen, we keep bringing knobs to this gunfight, we're not going to win. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just going to say I got my speculations, and unfortunately there's no random testing in boxing, so I can never be able to prove none of this stuff, so it's all alleged. But I just never seen Marquez look explosive and power. No, Pacquiao ran into the punch. I get that. But the overhand right that he dropped him with, I cannot lose sight of that in my mind. And I just seen him systematically break people down. And last Saturday night, he was a one-punch knockout artist.
Well, I'm going to give you a parallel.
I can't buy it.
I'll give you a parallel. You know what I'm saying? In Philadelphia, I don't even really remember the name of this strip club. It was a strip club in Philadelphia, right? And it was BYOB. It was beautiful scenery. You brought your own alcohol, and you didn't get frisked when you walked in the door. Right? So wherever you're at in life, if you're a teenager, if you're a married man with children, if you're a middle-aged man, when you go to this place, you never know what someone could be doing in there, and then you don't even know what they can have on there as far as a weapon. Manny Pacquiao made a career off of having fights where it's like, I bring my beverages, you can bring whatever you want. So
now, is he in rehab though? That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, and this is all alleged. This is alleged.
It's all alleged. Let's just preface that right now. We're not saying any. This is all alleged.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You gotta take it for what it is, man. Like I'm not tripping off of this. Because
me neither. I don't care neither. I'm just putting it out. Like, it's just funny to me. I'm
not tripping because, rightfully so, Manny, I like Manny's personality, and Manny's camp seemed like the type of camp, like, look, I ain't trying to look in your bag, don't look in my bag, let's just get busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't about, like, we going to go to war. Well, how many nuclear missiles do you have? I don't care how many nuclear missiles you have. I know I got the nuke that's going to get you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they done had 3 fights, and, he had urine he was drinking and things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this is, people forget, like, somebody was like, well, why would he, this is a dude that was drinking piss when he fought Mayweather, so hell yeah.
He might have found a different strain of pee. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, man, like, look, like you said, like, you don't bring knives to gunfights at the end of the day, and they fought you can't fight a more perfect fight than you fought last year. The only thing now to do is get into that X-Man lab. Superhero time, like that's the only other solution at this point.
Now, Trade, I will say this: if the He-Man punch didn't happen in the fight, now as cut as his body looked, Manny would have gotten knocked out by the older Marquez the way he ran into that right hand. The last knockout was just the perfect punch.
He was eating these punches before though. Like you got, remember we were saying how crazy he was, how he when Senior. Do you remember how all of this stuff came about? It wasn't how he was knocking people out. It was the punishment he was able to absorb coming from flyweight moving up, just walking into these punches.
The one that put him
pretty hard. And
the one that put him the one that put him to train, he did not see at all.
No, he didn't see the punch at all.
It was the perfect punch on his jaw.
It was it was almost the same punch that Sergio Martinez knocked Paul Williams down with. It was almost the same. It was almost the same punch. I will give you that. It was a good punch. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful punch. It was a beautiful punch. I just remember we was watching the Cotto, and Cotto hit him. And granted, he may have seen his punch, but he just took it and ate it.
Man, the
and
punch
Cotto
was
got knocked out
a real body shot.
It's like I'm just wondering if Cotto, Pacquiao turned the corner, and normally when people turn corners, they leave a lot of stuff around the corner. So I wonder if he was drinking Shirley Temples at the bar last night.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to make sense out of everything.
Right, man. But it's like, this is that type of club where it's an open bar.
Yeah, in the whole land, and again, Marquez. Again, I'm not taking anything because I've been very adamant. I thought he beat Pacquiao when he had the 10-year-old torso when he looked like the Hulk. He beat Pacquiao.
Yeah, but see, like I said, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Train. Nobody, like, you think about it. Floyd don't look like he looked when he first started. Like, everybody gets a little old.
Floyd don't look like that though. He never had a body like that. That body last night, and this is not. I don't mean to be racial here, but like Mexican fighters normally, and Vargas even said that. And you know what happened with him? He said Mexicans aren't supposed to look like this.
Now,
when he
they
fought
don't lift weights.
Warrior.
But most boxers don't subscribe to lifting weights because they think it tightens the muscles too much.
Yeah, let's be honest. It looked like he looked like a chick that was flat chested, and then she came to work and she was a 34D the next day.
Oh, there's things you can do to improve that. 2012. You gotta understand, guys. I have 20/20 vision. I've never had
nothing looks, and I don't like that either. By the way, it has to be realistic. I don't like the artificial look.
I have 20/20 vision. I shoot 3-pointers all day now. As soon as I got 20/20 vision, my 3-point percentage went up dramatically.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Boxing is a weird animal all in itself, and it's a shame. I blame the system more than I blame the fighters because it's a sport where there's two tests, before and after the fight, which means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like that, it literally means nothing. And it's a shame, but that's just how it is. And, you're going to see a lot more of this. You're going to see a lot of more fighters coming back. I guarantee you Shane's like, hell yeah, I'm coming back. This is motivating. They like, if he can do that, I can do it. Shane is coming back.
Who's Shane?
Well, hey, why not? They talking about him maybe fighting Berta. Like, Shane come back, get tightened up with the medicine?
I started the story, to show off with. It's a new era, and like this is what I want to get into. Like, where do we go from here? Because now.
Oh, with the landscape. Okay, so the landscape. I don't know. It's confusing because you don't have when you was talking. I didn't get a chance to chime in when you was talking. None of these guys impressed me. Rios, I love the guy. I think he's a great character for the sport, but he's an accident waiting to happen as well. Like he's not like Margarito was, where he's gonna get knocked out soon because I think he takes a lot of punishment, and it's the punishment where it's almost like to the point like he's a fight away from being like ruined almost, I believe. Because the last fight when he fought Alvarado, like he took a massive beating in that fight. Like before he get in the big fights, he's taking these massive beatings. Like one thing about Margarito, when he did those beatings, when he was taking those beatings, they were in big time fights. But he's getting beat up before the big time fights even start. Then you get to Bradley.
I haven't beaten Gamboa.
No, he beats him, but he's not. I'm saying like, in order for these dudes to become who we think they're going to become, they got to beat the guys that's in position right now. And right now, Marquez gives him a boxing lesson. Like he could. It would be Juan Diaz all over again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have Marquez.
You understand what I'm saying? Like normally when you change past the guards, like when you use the name you was talking about before, everybody had to beat that old, that one old head dude. But the old head dude still got enough to beat these younger dudes.
Right.
Like, don't get it twisted. Like, Pacquiao lost to Marquez and got knocked out. Now, I still don't think he's going to be the same again. But you put him in a ring with a Brandon Rios who comes straight to Pacquiao, if he got an ounce of what he once had left, he knocks Brandon Rios out.
Well, the counter puncher Pacquiao has always been better than the stalker. It's just the fact. That's what he was. And
Brandon Rios has no head movement, and he comes straight forward trying to, walk you down, basically. And that's the kind of guy Pacquiao looks like Muhammad Ali against.
Right.
So, now, getting back to the whole Floyd thing, now this screws up everything for Floyd. Because Floyd, even his Twitter release today was, I feel bad for Pacquiao, yet he took a stab at him and said Pacquiao piggybacked off my name and had a good career, but I feel bad for him. Even still, Floyd, he's attaching his name to Pacquiao. So it's like that's dead now. And the mystique with Floyd was, when is he going to fight Manny Pacquiao? That's over now. Or is it over now? Is it really over now?
Let's get into it because now it's like you kind of get upset because, I've always championed Floyd in knocking Pacquiao out. I always thought he had the style that would knock Pacquiao out. Now we're like, why didn't the fight happen? Was there really an issue with Pacquiao's style that deterred him, or was it a Bob Arum issue that prevented this fight from actually really happening?
I think it was all the above. I think everything you mentioned.
In my eyes, I thought Pacquiao had the perfect style for him to look great, a la like
that's what I always thought. I always thought. I remember when Floyd first put out the blood test, and I was like, man, why is Floyd require? He would trash Pacquiao. I guess from a professional perspective, he wants everything, which I can understand. And I'm like, then it was with the money thing. It was like, Bob Arum. We all know, like, he has his greed, and Floyd is doing business with De La Hoya and them. They got their feud, so the politics in that aspect kicked in. But it's a shame, man, because Marquez pretty much did what everybody thought Floyd was going to do. So that's gone now. But I still think that, crazy as this may sound, because I've just seen how this stuff goes sometimes, and it depends on where they at financially, don't be shocked if the fight might still happen. Now, it'll have to take for Pacquiao to get like a big win or something, perhaps against. I don't think he could beat Marquez again. I think that's over. I think that ship is sailed. He would have to get a big win again for it to happen again. But
just like you said, you think the Floyd Pacquiao fight will happen. I don't think that fight will happen. I do think a number 5 Marquez, and
that's where
they're
the money
going to look at it like it's 3-1.
Yeah, that's what. And They were showing
you get back to the Floyd and Pacquiao. And listen, guys, we've been off of our soapbox for a good time. You know what I mean? I know y'all went through the whole season of us complaining about the sport. This right here, you know, this is the reason why. I know the sport still does numbers, but, like, it would be after the fact, man. Like, if they fought now Pacquiao has two back-to-back losses, even though he didn't lose the other fight. He had more on his resume. You know, Floyd can demand more money. It's going to get even uglier in the negotiating room. But then the frenzy that would have been 2 years ago.
I know.
Understand how we will all feel one week leading up to that fight?
I know.
Butterflies we will all have. Like
I don't know we'll ever have that again.
Yeah, man, it's like, you know, it's just
our generation. Maybe it'll happen later with another generation. This current generation, I don't think it's going to happen.
And that was the biggest fight ever. And and if it happens now, it won't be the biggest fight ever.
No, it won't be the biggest fight. It will be Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. A fight that should have been happened, but it happened. People watched it, but it was nowhere near what it would have been if it would have happened when it should have happened. But this fight would have been even bigger than that because this is the first time that two fighters, you don't get this often. Where normally one guy is the star and the other guy is like kind of the star. You talking about star A and B. Like now, like you said, Pacquiao, I forgot about the Bradley loss. I didn't even factor that into it. Whether he was robbed or not, it's a loss.
Yeah, Holyfield Tyson is probably more accurate because when Lennox became a star, Mike was locked up.
That's what I'm saying. So it was like kind of like
off, and we, the boxing degenerates know that the Tyson camp didn't win no parts in Lennox Lewis back then.
Right.
Nobody really. A lot of people was avoiding Lennox back when he was younger. But let's get it. You know, was there really a rib injury with the Holyfield situation? Well, you know, he ended up getting locked. That didn't happen. So
you talking about the first time they was.
First time they're supposed to fight.
91, yeah. Right. I don't know, but at least we got to see it. It happened, even though Tyson lost. We got to. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's my issue with this is that it's no matter how you think the fight gonna play out, it still has to play out in the ring, and it
Mike
never.
Was
we was deprived of that.
Yeah, Mike was a shot fighter then.
Right. Well, we didn't know that then. We thought he still would beat. I thought he would beat Holyfield.
Because you got to, even the post-Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, I always tell people, Mike used to be so confident. Like, if you look at those Razor Ruddock fights, those are some of the most brutal fights you will ever see. Like, Ruddock was hitting Mike with shotgun cannons.
He said he kicks like a fucking mule.
Yeah, like a mule.
He punches like a mule.
Mike was so confident then, he ate it. He just ate the punches. Things that he would quit with later on, you know?
The Buster Douglas joint wrecked him, though.
You said the Buster Douglas did what?
I said that wrecked him.
I'm sorry.
Yo.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I said, I was saying the Buster Douglas fight wrecked him.
Oh, of course. That was a beating, but if you think about it with the fights after that, like he still was able to take a punch. It wasn't like he was like his chin got wrecked because he ate clean shots in those fights after that. So it's just speculation. That's unfortunate about this sport because there's no mandatory fights.
Right, and the thing was, like I was talking to Doc GYGB last night, and he said that his take on it was he thinks Floyd's ego ruined the fight. Like, he thought the fight could have been made, but Floyd, just looked at Pacquiao as like some peasant, and I'm going to call all the shots, and he just did it in spite, not really having a rhyme or a reason or what he was doing.
But that was more aimed at
spiteful. Right, just being spiteful. Right.
I got a question.
And what's crazy about it, Pacquiao is cool as hell. Like, I don't see how nobody could not like him, the person.
I don't think it's Bob. I think everybody.
It's Bob. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Whatever happened to mandatory defenses? Is that still in the sport?
Yo, that's a good ass question.
What happened to that?
Yo, that's crazy how, like, remember Bernard took pride in his title defenses?
What happened to mandatory defenses? I don't remember the last.
Just let them, people, super fights, man. Everybody, I blame De La Hoya. I think De La Hoya changed the way we know boxing. And people say it was always like that, but it wasn't, though. Because, like you said, it was people cared about title defenses. You know, people tried to wipe out their divisions. People always went for money. They moved up in weight. I'm not going to say that. But people want the belt. But I never forget when Roy, Winky Wright, Bernard, they was all calling for De La Hoya. De La Hoya, like, changed everything. Because what people saw was that, okay, the heavyweight division, you no longer have to be a heavyweight to make a whole lot of money in this sport. Like, become like a multi-millionaire. All you need to do is look, Bernard is living proof. After he fought De La Hoya, built a damn partnership out of the situation.
Right.
But Bernard is living proof. Roy Jones for Trinidad. It's like everybody's all over the damn place chasing. You got dudes at like 130 talking about moving up to welterweight. They go for money. Forget like going the route, I'm going to go to 40 and this, that. They moving right up. Everybody wants the big fight with the mega superstar. And again, De La Hoya was the guy that everybody used to chase. Now there's Floyd and Pacquiao right now.
Right, and everybody.
So that kills divisions. And what you talking about?
People actually didn't want to get stripped of their belts.
Yo, Guerrero for Andre Berto as some type of barometer to get to Floyd. Like, what the hell is that about? Like, how does he deserve a fight? And no disrespect to him, but who was he to come out of nowhere? Who did he fight at welterweight other than Berto, who's coming off a loss? And then all of a sudden he could fight Floyd Mayweather? Like, I mean, that's where you at with it, though. That's what I'm saying.
So where are we with the sport? Like, all right, so you know, I don't think the Pacquiao Floyd fight happens.
Right, I'm with you. I'm just saying that, like,
I got a feeling
nothing surprising.
Pacquiao might retire.
Yeah.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, does he love the sport anymore?
Why
he says he does, but do he though? I feel like he feels as though he's letting people down if he retires. He was crying on some TV show today. I think he's such a loyal person to his community and his country that I think that he feels like he has to fight for them.
Well,
but I don't think he's doing it for himself.
He's been forced to fight for the past couple of years. And Tyson, I never forget, it was one of the most noble lines I've heard when he fought for the last time. Like, you know, I haven't loved this sport in years. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I remember he said that.
Pacquiao does not want to fight.
Yeah, you know, I know. It's clearly.
Yeah, he wants to help his people. He wants to be a politician. He's deserved the right to do that. I mean,
I think he should retire. Me personally, I think once you get those kind of knockouts that you got, Floyd had a really good line. He said today. He said, "It's one thing to get knocked out and you go back to your corner and get your shoulders rubbed and you go back out and fight again. But when you get knocked out and they need the smelling salt, that's close to death. That's the closest you will ever get to death in the ring and having a concussion."
I'm gonna do you one better. Football. You know, football. Super lot going on about, you know, getting concussed in football. They said boxing, that's the safest way to end a fight.
Yeah, I know, you told me that.
Every time someone gets knocked down, that's a concussion. When your brain short circuits, you're being concussed. So that was a deeper concussion because he was knocked cold.
They had to turn him around.
But you're being concussed. Think about the symptoms in any sport. As far as if you're boxing, you think about the symptoms in other sports. You're dizzy, you're wobbly, your vision is blurry. That's being dropped in boxing. Then you got to finish the round. You have to finish the round in boxing. So, you know, and that comes with the territory. It's a very dangerous sport. But he was knocked cold. Like,
Well, you brought up a good point on Sunday when I was talking. You said, and then I didn't even think about this thought. I hung up with you. You said, on the Pacquiao has been fading the last few fights. Like, he's been, not that he's took a brutal beating, but every fight he looks worse and worse.
No, I didn't say that, Train. I said he's taking a beating. I was like, if you think about the Margarito fight, you think about he's been taking a beating the last couple of fights. You even go back to what's my man from Africa? That's probably the first time he took a beating since he's been on this.
He was getting hit. He was getting touched up. The Margarito fight, he took more punches than they wanted him to take in that fight.
And who did he? I remember it was another fight that he was getting. But
he didn't get beat up in a Bradley fight though.
No, he didn't. But the Margarito fight, he took a lot of punches.
But my point is that maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was Rada Dow. One of y'all told me this, that he's looked sloppy. Like, since the Shane fight, he's looked bad. Like,
now, I mean, this is it though, Train. Like, you gotta understand. Like, now, I'm not going to say he got a lot better when he got with Freddie Roach.
He was at least trying to move around at once. He started that jumping stuff again.
If he chases you, he's always looked this way. When he chases you, he's off balance a lot when he throws that lead right hand. Now, mind you, if you chase him, he'll sit on that left hand and catch you in, or he'll hit you with the right.
Ricky Hatton came to him.
Yeah, like if you come to him, but if you allow him to follow you, then it kind of shows you his deficiencies. Now, mind you, his deficiencies is also a plus because it's so awkward and it's so fast and powerful and overwhelms certain people. But he's been getting hit. Like, let's keep it real. Like, he's taking punishment. So this wasn't good.
Well, this fight right here is the one that. This is reminding me of when Roy Jones got knocked out by Tarver, where I think he's going to get knocked down. See, once this happens, you start getting knocked down after this. Like, he's going to get knocked. If he comes out, I'm just saying he fights some Joe Blow. Like, I just think he's going to be gun-shy now. The one mystique about him was, see, he hasn't been knocked down in over a decade. Well, Shane dropped him, but it was kind of weird. It was like kind of he was off balance. But this, like, brutally knocked down since, like, but this was like the worst of his career. But the last time he got like officially like really knocked down was like over 10 years ago. In the way he was knocked out, like I just at this age and where he's at mentally, I just don't think you can bounce back from this. That's why I'm saying, huh?
Michael Vick.
Well, yeah,
that's true. Like,
and the dude from Watch, I told people, I said, dude is nice. RG3 for Washington. But to me, he's another one of these dudes that's going to have a short shelf life because he plays too reckless. He already had a concussion already, and he's out with a sprained knee.
Yeah, he takes a lot of risks.
Can't take hits like that when you play quarterback.
He's an accurate guy, though. He just got to learn to
drill
it in.
No, he got it. Like, the one thing he got over all them dudes is he can make every throw on the field. Like,
yeah. He's
crazy nice with it, but like I was telling you before, like I was saying, like it's something about when you athletic like that, you able to run. They don't teach that out of you. They let you because at the lower level you can get away with that and like be a phenom, but at the pro level it's hard to do both. He wants to go back there, but you go back to instincts like Pacquiao. You go back to what you know and who you are, and you become that reckless abandon. That's what Pacquiao was Saturday night. He went back to what he know, and they got his ass knocked out, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that was the game plan. I think they wanted to implement, trying to overcome.
It reminded me of the first fight. It was weird. I said, this reminds me of when they first fought, the very first fight.
I think they went back to that because they figured they had the most success in that manner, but and it was, to keep it real, it was working. I mean, he just, I think he looked for that knockout and he got reckless. And 6
seconds left? That's the messed up part about it. It was, though it was probably, he would have got knocked out anyway.
He hit him.
I know. sheesh. But it was like 6 seconds when he got hit, and then he fell, and then the bell rung. And he never turned over after that.
I thought as soon as he hit him, I thought it, because when it first happened live, I was wondering if they were going to say he hit him after the bell. I was hoping.
Doc thought it was a low blow because he said it happened so. See, I didn't see it live. Doc said it happened so quick because all you saw was Pacquiao following the hell around, and the next thing you know, he was on the floor.
Yeah, and the bell rung immediately.
It was a sneaky. The way he did it and set it up. It was perfectly designed the way he did it. And people was talking about he stepped on his foot. I'm like, everybody know when a southpaw fights an orthodox, you got it. Your feet gonna get tangled when you throw that overhand punch, like when you set up the counter.
Yeah, it was. I think that was instincts. That wasn't It wasn't a trap. He was getting chased around. His back was touching the ropes. He was hurt, and it was instincts. He knows he throws that lead left.
You're saying that he just subconsciously threw the punch.
Yeah, Marquez constantly
anticipating it. Yeah.
To the left constantly with him in counters, and it was just a perfect.
That was a brutal, like it was brutal, and it just makes me think about what Mayweather. Like Mayweather throws these punches. He throws check hooks, and I just can't just get this vision out of my head of Pacquiao getting knocked out against Mayweather.
Yeah, so
too bad it don't matter now because that's over.
And there in the Chronic 2001 came out in 1999. So you can't have everything in life.
Yeah. Just gonna
certain things and it never happens.
Right. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, Amir Khan fights in a couple weeks. Steve, shout out to Steve. December 22nd, he fights Toman. He finally gets his rematch. We'll be pulling for Steve in that one.
Where is it at?
It's in Bethlehem. Big Mike was talking about heading up there, but I don't know. It might be snowing.
Have we ever been there before?
No.
Is there any colleges near there? That's the only reason why I would have probably been there.
What'd you say? Is it near the colleges?
I said if it was any colleges around there, I probably have been there before. Am I running?
I think it is. I think Lehigh University is up there, where the Eagles practice at.
Oh, you talking about where they make St. Ives?
Right.
Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's where they make that at? I never knew that.
Yeah, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. St. Ives
How did
Premium Mall
Steve get down with them all the way from there?
Yeah, they were close to home. St. Ives Premium Mall Liquor.
Yeah. All right.
Where they make the milk at, too.
Dairy? Oh, Lehigh, the milk.
The Lehigh Farms,
They sell it in 7-Eleven. I remember that milk.
Yep.
I buy Wawa milk now. I don't know about Wawa, the most convenient store in the world. All right, Guard Your Girl Boxing Radio, Sleep, Coltrane. Mondays, we're going to try to do this, man. We finally have something to talk about, but, we'll try to keep it moving, man. Again, props to Marquez. Like, everything we said was alleged. We just, having some fun with the people. Don't take us literally. And, we hope Pacquiao recovers well. And, I hope he retires, but he won't. Boxers don't do that. And we'll be back. Well, I'm always retiring people. I want everybody to retire when they get knocked out like that.
Yeah, for their safety. Why not?
Yeah, I'm just like, after watching these specials, like real sports, like scare me with the way I see what happens to people after they no longer are doing what they're doing, and it puts like a different perspective into things.
Oh yeah, definitely. It doesn't end well. That's what people.
No, it doesn't. And I think his wife knows that too. Why he still got all his wits, like. But Roy's still fighting there. He seemed to be pretty articulate these days. I don't know.
I don't know why the guy is still fighting, and that scares me more than anything.
Well, I keep going back to that line that Q-Tip said. So does a painter stop painting? What else am I going to do? Remember after the end of the Tribe movie, he was like, what else I'm going to do? I'm an artist. I know, but see, it's easy for us to say, but damn, you asking somebody to stop doing something they've been doing their whole life. I think it's easier said than done. I really do.
Hey, I still play basketball.
There you go. There you go. He's being serious about that too.
Yeah,
All right, I gotta go.
All right, peace.
GYGB.